What would you do when your mother wants you to stay with her in a small village while you want to reach your dream in a city? Are you going to choose your goals and leave your mother behind? However, what if your eagerness to achieve your dreams would take you to where you rightly belong? Greetings and peace. Today we will hear of a story of a girl who is stuck with her mother. She wants to break free and leave her sedentary life in a small village to seize her future in the city of Moscow. Getting a job at the boss's desk, the girl saw a photo of her mother in a dark frame. But before we proceed, make sure you subscribe to our channel. Also, click the notification bell button so that you can be updated anytime we release a new exciting story. Elana raised her daughter alone, named Natasha. Natasha never met her father, and the only thing she knows about him is that he abandoned her mother while she was pregnant. Natasha wished to meet her father when she was younger. She wanted to get to know him. But her dreams shifted to something more realistic as she grew older. Her vision for her father was forgotten gradually, together with the idea of finding him. However, despite her father's absence, she never experienced being alone, for her mother meets all her needs, from protecting her to providing her necessities. Elana used to live in Moscow and decided to move to a small village away from the city. There she is working full-time to earn money for herself and Natasha. As time passed by, Natasha hit 30 and still unmarried. She is a beautiful lady, intelligent and a degree holder woman. Every young man in her neighbourhood is hitting on her and expressing their adoration to the lovely Natasha. One of them is Igor, a tractor driver. Igor has been following Natasha since they were in high school. They were studying in the same department. Unfortunately, Igor had to stop studying when he was in his 10th grade. However, Igor built his character to Natasha as a diligent and respectful man. Natasha noticed that Igor is serious about his feelings towards her. Unfortunately, Natasha does not yet consider entering into a relationship for some personal matters. Elana is very strict towards her daughter Natasha, and complimentary. She is an obedient daughter. Her mother notices everything she is doing and giving criticism in every little thing of her action. Natasha does not focus on the wordings of her mother, but on her intention. She believes that her mother wants only the best for her and loves her more than anyone. Natasha is the love of her mother, and she is her mother's most precious jewel. Her mother is willing to keep her forever and make her even perfect in everything. Still, because of this love, Natasha feels so suffocated the way that her mother's protecting her. When times are getting tight, she thinks that her mother is getting below the belt. She makes herself calm and understands her mother more. When things get too much for her, she turns to her best friend, Lisa, the well-raised daughter of a wealthy man who lives on the other side of the village. Lisa is her one call away best friend that is willing to help her any time she's needed. She consoles her, encourages her, and gives her peace. Despite her differences in life, they still have a healthy relationship together. Lisa does not have to work, unlike Natasha. She stays at home and still gets everything she wants, literally. One day, when she got into a fight with her mother, she decided to go to Lisa's house to refresh her mind. And along the way, she met Igor, the guy who had a crush on her since high school. Igor offered her a ride to her destination, and Natasha accepted the offer and hopped in the car. Unfortunately, the vehicle had something wrong with the engine and it won't start. His car broke down and he got embarrassed in front of Natasha. He tried to fix it, however, as time passed, it was still not working. So Natasha approached him and told him it's okay and she'll walk since it was just walking distance anyway. Natasha reaches her best friend's house, and when Lisa saw her, she walks towards her and welcomes her with a warm hug, for she knows that Natasha needs her support. Natasha opens up to her and told her everything she's hiding on her chest. Natasha is worried about her future and had already reached 30 yet feels so incomplete. She is unmarried and living in a tiny village that offers nothing but a dull and unsatisfied life. At that moment, her best friend encourages her to move to the city, since Lisa knows the great opportunities are in Moscow because her father is working in the city. Her mind got open to that idea, but moving to the city is not easy for her. She has to consider her mother's condition. Plus, she doesn't have the money to provide for herself to live in that kind of place. Elana has a heart problem that made Natasha hooked, and she can't leave her mother alone. She has to be nearby to take care of her. Days pass. Natasha is still thinking about what they talked about, moving to the city. She feels like she has to be there, that her feet are yearning to be in that place. She realizes that she has to pursue her dreams. She's been living for 30 years under the shadow of her mother. Her identity seems nothing to her at all. Living in a tiny village won't bring her fortune, and she has to think of her future. She is an intelligent woman, and her ambition to succeed in life is impossible unless she only dares to step out from under her mother's supervision. Natasha summoned all her courage and decided to ask her mother if she could move to Moscow so she could reach her dreams. Her mother instantly disagreed and told her of all the circumstances that she might face when she got there. But Natasha said that she doesn't have to be afraid and has nothing to worry about. Her best friend Lisa offered her an apartment and she could live there until she got a job. Her mother disagreed with her decision once more and told her that she would not accept her anymore if she left. All the discouragement she received from her mother fueled her to take a significant step for herself. Despite all the disappointment, Natasha decided to leave her house and move to Moscow. She knows that behind all her mother's words are love and affection that keep her from the pain and misfortune. Her decision is not about her mother. It is about her future and all of her unfulfilled dreams. Natasha decided to realign her life. She worked very hard and saves money. When she had enough, she told her best friend Lisa. Natasha stated that she is ready to move out and seize her life while there is still time. Natasha prepared all her belongings and made a farewell letter for her mother. Those were the most prominent steps that she would take and the most heartbreaking for her, for she used to live with her mother all her life. And now she's going to move to a big city without the guidance of her mother. But worst of all is that she is going to do it against her mother's decision. Natasha travelled to Moscow with Lisa's dad that night. In the morning, Alana had already fed their livestock, done all the chores, and noticed that Natasha was not awake yet. Without a clue of her daughter's departure, she went to her room to wake her up, and just there she found out that her daughter left her in the night with a note that tells she is going to Moscow all by herself. She burst into tears because her daughter left her. She had no one in her life but Natasha. She loves her deeply, but she already expected that this would happen one day, and that day is already happening. She later realised she loved and protected her daughter far too much, to the point of depriving her of her freedom. She now wishes Natasha nothing but the best in life. Despite all the heartaches and disappointments that the situation offered, the love of a mother will always take over. Alana wished her daughter to reach all of her dreams and waited for her to come home with open arms and tell her that she made a great decision. On the other side, Natasha arrives in the city. When she got there, she immediately looks for a job to survive in the big city. She is still adjusting to the busyness of the place, but she strives harder. Finding a job is challenging for her. She has failed many interviews, but that doesn't make her quit. Instead, she made it an inspiration to stand tall and give her best. She begins to work in restaurants and cafes while finding a stable job. One typical afternoon, she saw an advertisement whilst job hunting that offered work as a flower seller. She took the chance and prepared herself for another interview. While she was waiting in line, she heard her name called, so she entered the manager's office. Nikolai, the manager, asked for her residence card, but she had nothing to give since she was not from Moscow. Nikolai told her that she couldn't get a job without it, but Natasha begged him, for she has to get the position. Nikolai gave her a chance, as she reminded him of someone dear to him. He asked Natasha to sign the contract and some documents, but she noticed her mother's picture on his desk after she signed the papers. She asked the manager why he has a photo of her mother. Then Nikolai told her that the girl in the picture was his wife, who died 30 years ago. But to his surprise, Natasha claimed that was her mother. Then Nikolai got mad at her and asked her to leave the office. Natasha was stunned, realising that the man in front of her is her father. She didn't miss a chance to make things clear and came back to his office after that day to pursue him to believe. However, Nikolai also wished for her to come back. Nikolai tells their story to Natasha. He said that he and Alana were in love, but his mother was against their relationship, so they decided to marry secretly. He thought Alana had died in an accident with their baby in her womb, but it turns out they were alive, and her daughter is sitting next to him. Natasha asked her father to come and meet Mother. He agreed, and they travelled to their village. When they reached their house, Nikolai is very excited to see Alana, and when they saw each other, they burst out in tears and hugged each other. He told everything to Alana, and they forgave each other. Then Nikolai took his daughter and Alana to Moscow and lived in his house with all his fortune where they rightly belong. This story shows that God's plan will always overtake. The family's foundation is the love that serves them whenever they are brought back together. What do you guys think about this story? Let us know in the comments section below. Don't forget to like the video and share it with your friends. See you on the next story.